Well, as you can see, I've put in a basic sketch, and I do have some clear gel and white along the top, but there's no sky today. No sky at all. So let's get going. Let's paint a little brown. These are just going to be mountains. You ever been to a place where the mountains are so tall you can't see the sky? I've been there before. I know if you've ever been to Yosemite in California, that would be a place where you can't see the sky because of the mountains. So this is definitely wherever this is. It's not a real scene, but wherever this is, it's like that. So, pretty interesting, isn't it? Just work at, these are just rocks right here, in case I didn't mention that, did I? But you know what I should mention too, is if you're excited to see this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. And click the bell icon to be notified when I put up the next video. Well, now I'm gonna layer in some purple right here on this mountain. That definitely works. Again, trying to keep my sketch somewhat intact. That purple is to the blue side, I would say, so that's good. It'll look nice and distant that way. Very snowy. Isn't it fun to do a snowy painting? It's actually been a little while, but I like it. Hey, we should look at the painting that you guys did of my last one. You know, your version of the paintings. And don't forget that you can share your version with me using the hashtag on the screen, and then we'll try to get it in the next video. There we go. So the mountains are more or less blocked in. This is nothing special. In fact, it's a lot more rough maybe than sometimes, because I'm going to try something a little different. I'm going to use combination, probably filbert brush and 3/4 brush, but I'm going to use, well, this isn't really different. I've used to do this all the time. I'm going to use a palette knife. I know this is crazy because we haven't done it in a while, but I am going to use the palette knife. Hopefully you guys will enjoy seeing this. So here is some, oh, we can do this. We got a little yellow in there. I was going to say, oh, I don't know if we want to add yellow, but we do. So we have that light peach color sort of worked up. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to scoop up just a little, nothing fancy. And literally just going to roll this on, smoosh it on. Pretty hard, pretty hard. I'm not going to worry about anything here. Just want to smoosh it on. There we go. Now the reason I'm doing it with the knife is because these are so big, it's going to make it a lot easier. And then you get in here, look at this. And then you play around with it. You don't have to just leave it as one flat stroke. You can bring in a little more interest and variety. See that? But I want to create, you know, my mountain with this technique. It's different. It's different. And it's fun to do something different, isn't it? Now, let's play around here with the lay of the land. So anyways, we'll use combination brush and knife. We're not going to say, I can't use, we know, it has to be one or the other. That's not the way this works. I will say, very important here, that you do not layer on too much texture, because this is not a palette knife painting. It will look absolutely silly if you put too much texture on. So if you're going to try this on your own, like, you know, make sure you're not adding, don't add too much texture. It really will make a difference. So now a few minutes of kind of messing around with that mountain, and it's starting to look pretty good. We might work on it a little more. But look, I want to get us some detail on this mountain. I've got just some color, some purpley color. And I think it'll be very interesting. There we go. Just work in a little bit like that. Similar to the other mountain. I'm not trying to go across it with one stroke and, you know, and try to have a finished product. Instead, I'm trying to go back over it over and over again and kind of fine tune it and dial it in. I'm not necessarily just keeping what I get the first round, if that makes sense. But well, what the palette knife is doing is giving me a little bit more detail, a little bit more interest, I would say. And I like that. I think it's interesting. For this next step, I don't actually need my palette. I'm just using the brush and the paint that's already on the canvas. And I'm just moving it around here and there, creating, you know, better lay of the mountain, lay of the land. Because when you put it in with the palette knife, you got very little control over the little tiny details. And I want this mountain just a little more refined, not a lot more. I won't do, you may not notice much of any difference, if any at all. But I just want to show you, you can come back with your brush and make these adjustments, see what happens. You might like it, especially up in here. And get it kind of working for you. See that? I'm just wiping the brush as I need, but that works. So now I'm going to pull straight down with just purple, just to match the background, because what I'm doing here is reflecting, you know, all the colors into the water. Now, maybe we'll do some waterfalls. I'd like this maybe to still be kind of like a flowing creek, you know, it hasn't frozen over yet. Maybe just the edges will be frozen. We could do that, frozen edges, but then we'll, for the most part, have the middle flowing. I think it'll make it more interesting. It's just me personally, a little more red there in the foreground. Very quick and easy step, but just one that we got to get done. It's always easier to do it kind of more toward the beginning. Now I'm going to place in very quick a couple of these purpley trees. Nothing crazy, just enough to kind of show, hey, there's something. I left this area blank, you know, figuring we probably would stick some in. Sure enough, this works. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. See how just a few trees. It's funny how, and we're not talking about advanced trees here. This is about the most basic tree you can make. Just a smudge or two with the brush, but it works. A lot of that might be covered, you know, if we do another tree. Maybe we'll do a big tree here. You can see I've left this area blank for that. But there you go. Few little indications. I like that. That works. Do we want, man, maybe something? Well, we'll just keep working on it. It doesn't really matter. So now I'm going to place in the highlight side to our little lodge or cabin, barn building, whatever you want it to be. I don't care. Just some sort of little cabin. There's the highlight side. And now to do, well, that's not a very good edge. We'll probably put some branches over that, but you never know. So yeah, there we go. That should be okay. Now, slightly more shadowy. This is just some of the same purple that I've been using. Go right into that, and then this, a little of this and that. And just make it work, right? Just make it work. I'll maybe try to keep my sketch just a little bit intact. You know, sometimes it's easier said than done, and it just ends up getting destroyed anyways. I'm not concerned either way. I'm going to work on some of the details here of this roof. I've got a kind of a light pink color, a 1/4 inch flat. You could use a 3/4 inch, but I like this little guy. I think it works well for this. And tell you what, even you can go through here and refine edges, you know, like if you want to make a change, see, I want to make a change to that roof, you can. Get that shape just the way you want it. Oh, it's so easy to make changes. You're never locked in. I love that about this style of painting. You don't really have to worry too much about it. You'll be okay because you're not really locked into anything. I kind of want it to look like shingles, but not too much. You know what I mean? The snow is obviously piled up, but it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of a effect of shingles on the roof. I don't know. Maybe that's unnecessary. Maybe it won't even show. Maybe I'll change my mind, but who cares? At this point, I'm trying it. Oh, there we go. Not too much white. I've got that little bit of pink in it, and I like the pink. There. And then just a little bit of a shadow. Snow color right along the back side. Oh, that's good stuff. And then a little bit of a shadow blue and red will make kind of a purple. It's a soft purple. It's definitely not a very bright purple. And let's use that to just work in a little detail to that covered porch thing. Okay. Not looking here for perfection at all. Just something to kind of create some detail and interest in this painting. And I think that works. So, you know, you can spend as long as you want to on details like this. Maybe get a few shadows up here on the roof. It looks good. Yeah, stand back. Yep, starting to look good. Starting to look like something. And just taking a few strokes. I mean, honestly, this cabin may not take us a whole lot of time to paint today, although we do have a lot more to go. I shouldn't say that. Oh, I've said that before. Every time I say that, it always takes me a very, very long time. So now I'm going to work on putting some bricks or stones here on the cabin building. I like that. Just a little, just touching it, dabbing with the little round brush, the little detail round. It doesn't take a whole lot. See that? Just here and there. But it's creating some amount of texture on it. I think once you kind of squint your eyes and stand back, it'll look like bricks. I'm not trying to paint each individual brick. You certainly could. And that would be great. I'm not going to, though. I don't think it's necessary. I think it looks just as good doing it like this. But you let me know what you... Well, no, I guess I get to see. I was just going to say, let me know what you would do. Now I'm going to get to see your version. That's exciting. But this is probably the easiest way, the best way to balance time and effort and effect. There. Yes, I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay, we can do some other things, like grab just a little, see, this is where you start working with really tiny piles of paint. You just get little changes in color. Little changes in color. You don't want to do the same color all over the place. So, you know, it's a little warmer over here, a little cooler. You know what I mean? Change it up, do different things. Here's some pink. I'm going to add pink. Why? Just for the sake of variety. Hopefully that shows. If it doesn't, that's okay. I see it here in person, and that's just a little more interesting that way for me. Well, now I've got a lot of orange in my brush. More orange paint than brush, I would say. Look at that. And what we're going to do with this, maybe a little touch yellow ochre. There we go. Okay. What we're going to do with this, of course, is add windows. You saw where that was going, I'm sure. Let's add in a little window there. Good. And a little window there. Okay. We can always mess with these. They don't have to be right the first time. It's just not that big of a deal. Let's add in one big window at the top here. Don't overwork it. I'm telling myself, not you. I'm telling myself. Okay. And perhaps maybe a window there. Oh, wow, look at that. Good. I actually like these better. I use a little less paint. Over here, I think I use too much paint. Oh, there we go. Look at that. So you can go back over again. Oh, I like that, even streaking it downward like that. See, I like that. Almost helps to kind of blend it. And I think it makes it look better. Look at this. Oh, we're learning. I'm always learning. 10 years later, I'm always learning how to paint and do things a little different. And I love it. So anyway, with that thought in mind, maybe just add in a few more of these bricks here. Good. This cabin's fairly soft and I like it that way. It's not perfect. Well, now I'm going to drop in our highlights. Oh, it's going to be pretty. Now, one thing I did, I put some highlight around the cabin, but then you'll notice that I actually brushed it out a little bit. See that? I hit the edges of my cabin with the blender brush. Very delicate, both sides like that. And the back, because I really didn't want it too sharp. And I think we did that once already, but I did it again because, like I said, I just don't want it too sharp. Where I do want it sharp is right here in the middle, and I want the edges very fuzzy, just as something kind of artistic, you know. I think that's just interesting is all. So there you go. There you go. There's virtually no paint down here, so it makes it relatively easy to go ahead and get a lot of my highlight in. This highlight is tinted, but it's not tinted enough. Let me add some more red. There we go. I want it to, it's obviously evening time. It's not super late evening, but it's a little bit of the evening. You know, they got the lights in the windows. So I'd like to see those evening colors, especially playing around here in the snow. Even some of that, we can warm that water up just a little, probably be a good thing. Good. There, that's pretty. So I've just thrown a little bit of black here in my purple color. And you know what? The whole painting's kind of similar in tone. Actually, let's put a little more red into it. There we go. But look at how I'm just using the corner of the brush, the 3/4 flat brush, and I'm just picking out some details. But just by using that corner, you get these kind of sharp geometric little angles. It looks like cracks in the rock and whatnot. See that? It's super fun. I like that. This is still not, there's black right there. We're not anywhere near black. We can use black in the darkest shadows, maybe of like the tree trunk. We're gonna have like an old stump here, possibly, and some trees and whatnot. We can use black there, but I don't want to use black in these rocks, I don't think. I think that's too much. There, that looks good though. This painting to me is really coming to life by detailing up these little areas. You don't have to leave every area the same. by adding these dark pockets, these little cracks, and like I said, geometric shapes. I just like it. I think it's interesting. Oh, we could actually get a little looser there. See that? We're gonna have grass and whatnot there. I'm not as worried about that section. But you can see I messed around there, did some of the same to those. And it just makes a difference in a big way. Cool. It's not perfect, but it definitely works. Well, now we're going to work on these little waterfalls. I hope they work out. Just a little trickle of a waterfall. Most of it's going to be frozen. Maybe a little coming off of that rock there. Very subtle. Very little. You know, it's okay to have a few little things at the bottom of your waterfalls. Like that, you know, kind of rushing around the rocks. That's okay. Just little dabs of color. And when your viewer looks at it, especially from the 6-foot viewing distance, it's going to look like a little stream, even though it's just dabs of color. There's nothing to it. You can tell it's slow. See that? You can just see it's slow. It's not moving very fast. It's kind of trickling, which I think is realistic. Well, now let's paint in right here a large tree. It's not that large, I guess, but it's a tree. There we go. Excellent. Maybe a little bit right over here. Yep. And here and there. Yeah, that works. Look at that. Look at that. There's my kind of a gray color. I won't necessarily do a whole lot with this. I'd probably rather use a liner brush just because it'll work out better. It wouldn't hurt to have the feeling of, you know, another tree branch, like there's another tree off to the side here growing in. We'll do that maybe more again with the liner brush. But that is pretty good. Well, now I'm going to finally fill this area in. It's blank, so this paint should go on pretty dark. And that is one advantage of kind of leaving this area blank and not painting anything on it, is so that when you go to do this, you don't have to fight all those thick layers, especially if you, I could not have done that. I'd have to wipe it off. That would be too thick to paint over, but right over here, it's very thin. There's no paint here. It's just dry canvas right there. So paint in this little evergreen, just fan brush stamping it in. It's not really super important. And I think that's going to stop somewhere right about in here. There you go. I like it. I like it. I like it. It works. Yeah. Oh, we went right over that. That's good. It doesn't hurt to build that in a little. You see even down there, it's a little thick. I wasn't super sparing with my paint today. Kind of glopped it on, but it's okay. I guess I wasn't thinking, well, you know, I should have wiped it off, but it's all right. I can always go back and wipe it off if we need to. Oh, look at that. Yeah, look at that. Good texture there. See that? I'm using this brush to my advantage. You could get in there with a detail brush and do it all manually, but look, I can just touch it with the corner. See, I'm just using the corner of the brush. You don't have to do it manually if you don't want to. See that? Sometimes you can get in there and just do it automatically, just using the brush texture to your advantage. That's exactly what we're doing today. It's not a right or wrong way. You can do it either way. Get the detail brush out if you need to. But there you go. Look at that. Nice and dark. How fun. Very good. I like that. What that does, even let's go down a little further. What that does is it brings this area close, pushes that back, fill in all that. That looks good. I think it would be worthwhile to put a little stump here. See, we already have some action started with it. A little bit of just a dark color there, but there, it's a nice stump. I think it's interesting. Maybe a little bit of, action up on that. See how it's not all just like a perfect circle. It's got like broken spot. Usually when I do stumps, they're more slender. This one's different. This one's clearly been cut. This is not natural. I love that. I think it's different. I enjoy different. I know you guys do too. See a little bit of that, a little bit of this. Not too much. Hey, we actually maybe going overboard there. I don't want too much. There we go. Don't want too much snow on the actual downward side of it because it wouldn't collect there. Instead, what I'd rather have there, if this gets too muddy, I'll stop and I'll just do it with a liner brush because I don't feel like wiping the whole thing off. But you could put a paper towel on it, or not a paper towel, but a shop towel, walk away for 20 minutes, come back, peel it off. You could totally do that. That would work out just fine. But it's not necessary today. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, good enough. Good enough, good enough, good enough. There. How about just kind of a darkish blue shadow tone? Anything along those lines? It may not stand out too much, but there. Just as a shadow. It's not supposed to be snow. It might look like snow. That's okay. It's just supposed to be a shadow. Now, one of the very last things that I want to do is just glop on some snow. Not a great deal, but just enough. Here's my color. Kind of had to start working down here. It was getting muddy over there, but that's okay. Scoop up a lot of that. A lot of that. Okay. And just stick it on. It's not going to be perfect. It just needs to be on there. See that? That's good enough. That's good enough. I don't want it so covered in snow that you can't see the tree. And it's mostly going to be in shadow because, of course, this is the shadow side. So that does make it somewhat easier. Well, that about wraps it up for this painting. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing these slightly different techniques. It was kind of fun experimenting. Don't forget to check out our website, DVDs, and brush line. Thanks for watching. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Remember to subscribe if you're not already, and click the like button. That helps me out a lot. Stick around, watch a couple more videos, and stay inspired.